Champions Real Estate Team here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. My name is Mark Wayner II, team leader here at Champions Real Estate Team. So we jump on every Wednesday over the lunch hour, kind of give you a rundown of what's going on in the real estate market over the last week. And as always, joining me when he can, when he's not out there closing houses, is Russ Williams with Williams Mortgage. So he's the mortgage extraordinaire. So we'll jump in, kind of what we always do every week, kind of what's going on in the marketplace. Kind of same song, same dance this week. So we had 308. I got it shared. Okay, yeah. So we got 345 new listings that went live in the last 7 days. We had 387 new contracts written. So we had more contracts written than we had new houses come on the market. And then we had 384 sold homes. So kind of obviously what that tells me, it's kind of one in, one out. As the market is, as they're hitting the market, they're going off the market just as fast. There's some agents I was talking to in the hallway and reached out on the phone because I had clients interested in a similar property and it was pending. So I called and asked them, hey, what the ballpark, they got for it, number of offers. And the agent's like, Mark, he goes, it was a no-show status. And essentially I got 3 contracts on it and we sold it before it even went on the market, sight unseen. So, I mean, those are some of those things that, having an agent that's going to show you those listings, before they go on the market and hopefully get your foot in the door. It is, it's risky a little bit, buying a sight unseen. Maybe you're able to get a home inspection, maybe not. So that's just one of those things you kind of have to negotiate with that seller in that aspect of it. So that's kind of what we're looking at on the market side of it in the last week. So let's jump in, take a look at the 30,000 foot view graphic we always look at. So in the Omaha and Lincoln MLS, we have 1,111 active listings in the Omaha Lincoln MLS. So breaking that down in the smaller portion of it in the Omaha metro area, Douglas, Sarpy County area, we have 542 active listings. And the number of existing homes, hey, Russ, we increased by 1 listing than last week. So we got 1 more for everyone to look at. So we have 172 active listings in Douglas and Sarpy County in the existing home market. So basically those are homes that are not new construction. So that's going all the way from the $30,000 houses up to the multi-million-dollar houses. So it's kind of the whole gamut of what we see in the marketplace. And then new construction up a little bit. So we're seeing some new holes get in the ground and building permits and stuff like that. So we got 370 new construction listings out there. So ultimately, people ask me what's the difference, price point wise between the new construction and existing homes. I kind of break it down in 2 simple phrases. Basically, at new construction, you're paying retail price. With existing homes, you're paying a wholesale price. So new construction, you're paying today's lumber, labor, materials, everything to that sort. Whereas in the existing home, you're kind of paying that wholesale price. So they're typically a little less expensive in that regards from that perspective. But I mean, even now today, with the market and the multiple offers and stuff and the bidding going on, they're kind of almost the same a little bit in the last, what we've been seeing here. So months of inventory, got the 1 month supply of inventory, and about 295,000 is your average sold price. I did see kind of this time from last year. So the contract written in March, just in the last 9 days, we were at 329 average sold price just in the month of March. That's only 9 days. So that's not, a big picture, but that's just kind of a small picture. But the prices I don't see basically going down necessarily anytime soon. And I think kind of right before we got on, Russ Williams and I were kind of talking about what's going on in the mortgage rate. I've just had a couple of clients in the last week or so with the volatility in the market. Was it yesterday basically or the day before when the U.S. basically said they're going to stop, buying oil or whatever from Russia? That send the market into tailspins and, what it's doing to the bond market. And I've had clients getting, interest rates are going up significantly, just kind of like the gas prices are in that regard. So it is one of those things that if you've been looking for a little while and you're pre-approved at a certain price point, it's a great time to get back in touch with your mortgage lender if you haven't already this week and say, hey, Russ, I just want to get an updated pre-approval letter. Where are we at? Where are we comfortable at? If maybe you've gotten a raise or something of that sort to help offset that with those interest rates going up. Because if interest rates go up, 1% up or down, it affects your buying power by about 10%. So you kind of look at that perspective of it, getting into a house, the sooner the better. And I guess Russ is the expert more so on the mortgage rates, but I guess what are you kind of seeing, kind of similar things of what we kind of just talked about, and then we'll kind of go into a little deeper, I guess, if we need to. So.
Yeah, certainly there's going to be some continued volatility with mortgage rates. that is driven by uncertainty. We have inflation that's at 40-year highs. It's going to go a little bit higher. Anybody who's filled their gas tank lately knows that prices are rising, which is going to trickle all the way down to every good that you need. There are hundreds of ships that are trapped. They can't get out, that have goods and service or goods that we need, products that we need. And so it's quite likely we're going to see some continued inflation until the uncertainty and conflict ends. That's not favorable. Anytime we have inflation, that's not favorable to mortgage rates, which is why we've seen those rise. But certainly, we have to maintain hope that there will be some sort of a resolution soon to the war in Eastern Europe. And if so, that might help a little bit longer term. Now, Mark, I've heard some people say, I want to wait until interest rates drop back down before I buy a house. And here's what I want you to think about. Home prices are going to continue to rise based upon what we're seeing. Mark, you noted there are 172 homes available in Douglas and Sarpy County. And we have multiple buyers for every one of those homes going to be coming down on homes anytime soon, which means that home that you might buy next year or the year after, if interest rates do soften in the next year or two, you likely are going to be paying a lot more money for, meaning you're borrowing more money as well. And so your overall payment at the lower interest rate in a couple of years is likely to be the same as what you're going to be paying now at the higher interest rate to owe less. What I encourage you to consider is buy the home at today's price and today's rate, and you can always refinance in the future. You'll still owe less and have a lower overall payment than what you may have if you wait until a year or 2 years down the road when home prices are higher and potential interest rates are better. We don't know that interest rates are going to be better. I happen to believe that they may, but I do not believe that home prices are going to be dropping based upon sheer laws of supply and demand. Mark, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of second that same opinion. I mean, my wife and I, as we discussed on this video, on this little talk before, we built a house in 2019, at a 3.5% interest rate, and we're planning on being in our house for a lot of years. And less than 6 months, almost a year later, they were down to 3% interest rates, and we chose to refinance. I think our closing costs were about $2,000, but we were saving, $150 a month or whatever the closing costs were. And so basically divide that out. If we're going to be in the house longer than a couple of years, which we're planning on, you're going to save money in the long term. So that's something, like you just said, capitalize on, even though that we're paying a premium for houses, get into the house. And then if you need to, you can refinance later, because you don't know if interest rates are going to go up or down. If you lock in at 4.5%, 5%, maybe next year they go up a little bit. If they're hovering around there, at least you know what you're getting at this time, rather than gambling on what's going to happen in the future. And obviously you and I don't have a crystal ball, and we can't predict the future or predict the markets and what's going to happen, but everything's cyclical, goes up, goes down. You don't wait to buy real estate, you buy real estate and wait, and that kind of goes, it's been a phrase that's been around for a long time, and it's those things that it stands kind of the test of time to buy that asset, and even from an investor standpoint, I know investor interest rates, if you're putting 25% down, or 5.25% to 5.5% interest rate, when you talk about, and then the other thing that just came out in the news, or what they were talking about, the hot button item of property valuations, basically because the real estate market has gone up significantly over the last handful of years, and by law, the government basically has to value those properties at about 97% of the market value of those houses. So those taxes, your property taxes, essentially are going to go up, and so everything's going to just kind of compound on each other, and that's going to be passed on obviously to the homeowner, or if it's a renter, that's going to be passed on to them, because if they own the house, they're going to be paying that, increase in that property value, that tax assessed value as well. So getting into those houses, now rather than waiting in those prices, a $250,000 house now potentially could be $275,000 next year, and if your interest rate's a little bit lower, now you're paying $25,000 more, like Russ was saying earlier, and it's kind of a wash. But, if you get a lower interest rate, if you get into it now for $250,000, it goes up to $275,000, you refinance. Maybe if you only put 5 or 10% down, you may drop off mortgage insurance too. So you refinance with 20% down or 20% loan to value because you don't have to put any more down. If you wanted to, you could, if you had it, to drop that mortgage insurance premium off. Now you're saving, depending on the loan amount, a couple $150, $100, $200 a month on that mortgage insurance. So you're coming out ahead. So that's one of those things that, talk to one of us here at Champions Real Estate Team. If you're thinking about buying a house and you're kind of on the fence of what's going on, let's sit down and run numbers. I'll run a spreadsheet with you and show you what payments are going to be at, on this house with this interest rate, and what happens if they go up, what happens if they go down, and what happens if the price of the house goes up or go down. And that way you can at least make an informed decision rather than kind of armchair quarterbacking it, at the dinner table with your significant other going, well, I don't really know what we should do. I heard interest rates are going up. Get a reliable, resourceful, person on your team. Like here at James Rose's team, our goal is to coach you. Whether you want to buy a house now or next year or 5 years from now, let us help you to make those decisions, get that information. I just talked to one of my past clients, was it last week? I think it was, they're possibly planning on looking at doing something in 2023 of, next year. Just ask me, hey, Mark, what do we need to do? And we had a pretty good conversation about, here's just different options, and they can think about it. Now, do they want to do something now? Do they want to wait? And that's just what we do. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. My direct number, 402-672-7670. And then, if you have any questions as far as with mortgage rates or what's going on. The other thing is, once you have, and I know Russ can talk about this too, is once you have an accepted contract, you can put a rate lock in place, so that you can kind of hedge your bet. Hey, let's lock it in here. If it does happen to get more volatility in the market of what's going on globally or even, nationally or whatever, you're at least locked in. And if it goes down, you can adjust down from that, but at least you can get a ceiling and what your payment's going to be. You're not rolling the dice. You can do a 30-day, 60-day, correct me if I'm wrong, Russ, but I think that's kind of similar to what we can take care of on that mortgage rate side of it. So.
Yep. You can get longer term locks if need be. We'd be happy to help quote those out.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you wanted to touch on today? I know kind of got down the rabbit hole of what the rates are doing, but I think it's very important on what if people are currently in the market or thinking of getting in the market, know what you're getting into. And like I said, it's kind of one in, one out with those. We sold more houses in 2021 than we did in 2020. And I don't see it changing in 2022, even though our inventory is really low, but we're still keeping it that way because it's one in, one out. And as those houses are coming up, clients are making offers sight unseen, some are even before they get on the market. It's one of those things, if you see a dumpster in a driveway of a house, maybe go knock on the door and say, hey, are you renovating? Are you renovating for yourself, or are you renovating to sell it? And maybe you can even buy the house before it even goes to the market. So those are some of those things that, as agents, what you got to do is, if you have a client that knows what subdivision they want to be in, start driving around, knocking on doors. The weather's getting nice, and help that next person maybe find that house that they want too, because it's going to be a process. So, but anyways, I guess I can get down a rabbit hole and I could probably talk all afternoon, but just want to keep the video short and sweet. But do you have anything else, Russ?
Nope. Let us know how we can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If we need to sit down, go over spreadsheets and basically kind of, paint a good picture of what's going on for you personally, that's what we're here for, and our goal is to give you that information that you can sit down with the decision makers in your family and know exactly what you're getting into, good, bad, or the ugly, and we'll be honest with you. Our goal is to give you that information. If it makes sense or doesn't make sense, and help you through that process. So appreciate everyone watching us. We're on all of our social media outlets. So if you have questions, give us a holler. If you have topics you want us to cover, let me know. Shoot me a text, comment on any of the videos. So we're on my YouTube page, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that kind of fun stuff. So, but as always, appreciate you. And give me a holler if you have any questions. Thank you, Russ, for joining us. And we'll see everybody next week. Take care.